Franklin Bowling Center for the finals of the Franklin, Virginia Open. Hi everyone, I'm Leila Wagner. It's the final stop on the summer tour, and working with me once again is Jan Schmidt. Jan, the ladies decided to go out in fashion. They put on quite a show for the folks here in Franklin. It took over a 223 average to make it to tonight's finals, and I know at least 8 players battled for the final 3 spots last night.
Leila, it was one of the most exciting position rounds I've ever seen out here. I'll tell you, the 2 players that charged the farthest, Kim Adler proving herself once again in position round, shooting 257 to jump from 7th to 5th. And Sandra Jo Shirey vaulted from the number 9 spot all the way to the 4th position by virtue of her 280 game.
Well, Marianne Drupo managed to hold on to the number 3 spot. Tonight she is looking for her 4th career title.
And she was denied that title just 2 weeks ago by Wendy McPherson-Papanos at Samstown, Tunica. Marianne had to sit in the wings as top seed with no warm-up pairs, and it was a tough situation. This is better for her tonight. She has just one game to wait, and she has warm-up pairs to bowl on, so she's going to come out ready to bowl.
Well, Jan, we are going to run out of things to say about our number 2 qualifier if she continues on the streak that she has been on. Once again, it's Tammy Turner.
And she has had just an incredible run. In the last 6 events, she's had 2 first-place finishes, 2 seconds, 1 6th, and, well, it's anybody's guess, it'll be 3rd or better tonight.
Well, Jackie Sellers secured the top spot from the start to the finish of this event. She just has 1 game to go tonight. She is looking for her 2nd title in '96.
And Leila, this is her first time as the top seed. She did it in commanding style. She led the field by 273 pins. When I talked to her last night, she was so excited. I said, how did it happen? She said, well, I had phenomenal pin carry. We'll see if that continues tonight.
Well, will Sandra Jo Shirey and Kim Adler be able to throw the high scores that they did last night? Find out when we come back. We have match number 1 coming up. Stay with us. And welcome back. We are about to begin match number 1. Kim Adler will begin the match. It was up to Sandra Jo Shirey to decide who could start and who would finish. And she has chosen for Kim to start.
Therefore, Kim will have to finish the match last, and the pressure would be on Kim Adler.
She opens up with a strike. It's the 2nd week in a row that Kim Adler has qualified in the number 5 position.
She bowled a big game last week, too, 227, and still lost to Anne-Marie Dugan.
That's right, Anne-Marie shot 246 last week. First look at Sandra Jo Shirey, 31 years old. Opens up with a strike, 8th year on tour with 9 national titles.
It was neat to watch these 2 players last night. Both of them, there's so many players that were so close, and you knew it was going to take a big game out of 1 or 2 people to get in there. Going into the position round, Cheryl Daniels was 4th. Alita Sill was tied with Liz Johnson for 5th, and they all 3 fell out of the show.
Big games, great bowling, a lot of excitement here in Franklin. And comes up extremely light, leads with 210.
This could be tough to pick up today. It's her first shot. Ball's never really getting into a roll. It's just sliding. Barely catching the right side of the head pin. She's going to want to hit to the left of the 2-pin and slide the 2-pin over into the 10.
Not get the ball far enough left. We'll have to settle for 1.
There's quite a bit of conditioner. It appears in that little area of the lane, so it's going to be hard to get it across to pick up spares like that.
Where were the players playing most of the week, Jan?
All over, to tell you the truth. Several of the players on a lot of pairs were able to play around the 1st arrow or the 5th board, and some of them were in as far as 20 at night.
Kim Adler with a double.
Kim's been working on a couple of things, slowing down the ball and also getting more turn this week. Watch her backswing. She has a low backswing, maybe a little lower this week to try to slow it down. And she's trying to rotate real hard at the finish. She's trying to get a lot more rotation. She felt that when she watched qualifying, that was the type of game that scored this week. She sets her game plan each week by watching who scores in qualifying.
We know she made a ball change last week from 15 pounds or 16 pounds to 15. Is she using 15 this week?
No, she's using 16. She went back. She tried 15 in the evening, but it wasn't successful because she said it was throwing her timing off a little bit, only because she was trying to go slower this week and slow everything down. So she went back to the 16 pounds.
It's amazing that she can go back and forth, but you did mention the fact that by doing so, she did throw off her timing a little bit. And converts the 10-pin with ease. Sandra Jo made 3 shows in a row on the spring tour. We have not seen much of her here in the summer.
Well, she said she was so busy preparing for her upcoming wedding and everything that she did not get in as much bowling as she would have liked to.
That upcoming wedding, August 10th, she'll be marrying TVA member Curtis Odom.
That was a great shot. There's nothing you can do. It's a true tap in bowling. Solid 8-pin. Ball just driving through a little bit too hard.
So sure she thought that was going to hook that much. When she shot that 2-pin, you notice the ball just slid too much. Look at the scoreboard real quick. As Sandra Jo Shirey is trailing right now by 21.
And that was on the opposite lane where she shot at the 210. So maybe one lane is a little bit tighter, quite a bit tighter in the middle than the other.
9 national titles, one coming earlier this year at the Treasure Chest Classic in Kenner, Louisiana. And finally carries a light hit. Well, Kim Adler will be up when we come back. More action from here at the Franklin Bowling Center. Don't go away. Center, Kim Adler leading by 22 pins. Quickly saw her match play record. 18 wins this week. Not a very high match play record.
No, all of the top players, though, were in that range, 18, except for Jackie. Jackie had 25, but 18, 19, 20 wins. We are finding that with the 32 match play games, the bonus pins are really coming into effect more than they used to, because you have 32 games, 30 pins each game, as opposed to the 24 we had before.
Trying to increase her lead right now to 31. To do so, she strikes here in the 5th. And she does it. She mentioned she did bowl a super game last week at 227. So obviously feeling very comfortable with television bowling.
She's carrying it over from last night right now.
And we wondered if they were going to be able to do that. Sandra Jo Shirey trying to get something going. Got stuck by an 8-pin last time on lane 14. Oh, little high trips the 4, but the 10 still remains.
Pulled that ball left to target. She's been struggling just a little bit, getting her arm swing consistent. She actually brought her ball down. She's starting at about waist high now. She used to start higher. She tried that to try to control her arm swing better. Good look at her 3-fingered grip. She puts her index finger into the ball. Helps with strain on the wrist and tendon.
Sandra Jo needs to get something going here in the last half of the game to try to catch Kim Adler.
There she is with it waist high. Used to be about chest high. 4-step approach. She's been wrapping the ball behind her. You can see it there. The ball behind her just a little bit. She has to bring it around and pull it back through. Caused her to pull it left to target. That's something she's working on right now, trying to straighten that arm swing out again.
Career earnings of over $400,000. Comes up light, Lisa. Baby split, the 2-7. It's pretty phenomenal career earnings for her 8 years on tour. She has just always been so consistent, always there.
Her game allows her to play on a lot of conditions, and she's worked really hard to be competitive on some of the higher scoring contests.
Always known as that track-type player, the grind-out player, and like you mentioned, the high scoring, she had a tendency to get lost.
Exactly, and she's worked really hard to try to open up the lane a little more when she has to.
Look at some of the tournament stats this week at Franklin Bowling Center.
62 bowlers were here.
And you can see they're an average to make match play, 212.
And as you mentioned in the Open, 223 to make the telecast.
Big scores, 300 games shot this week.
Gets a break on the light hit.
Those 300 games were shot by Michelle Day and Marianne DeRupo. Light shots, ball sliding, not breaking to the last second, barely hitting the head pin, but pins dancing around.
Commanding lead here in match number 1.
Her string. Well, will she be able to take it all the way to the wall? Find out when we come back. More action here from the Franklin Bowling Center.
Sandra Jo up now in the 7th frame. She was the first amateur to win an LPBT national event. She did that in 1989 in South Bend, Indiana.
Sandra Jo just not able to get anything going here. She's struggling hitting the pocket a couple shots, and when she does hit the pocket, she's not able to carry.
Well, Sandra Jo had a special message for some very important family members and friends.
Yeah, I wanted to thank them for all their support throughout all the years. It's meant a lot to me, and especially my family for all they're doing right now to get ready for their wedding. Thanks, guys. I love you.
And a nice touch, as we did mention her wedding, August 10th, and always so much preparation and planning going into a wedding.
Oh, my. Just demolishes the rack on lane 13.
That was beautiful. Very aggressive shot.
We want to mention Chuck Gardner here, the proprietor of the Franklin Bowling Center. He's a former touring PBA player. He also enjoys NASCAR stock car racing. They only had 3 weeks to plan this event, and they did a wonderful job at getting it all together.
It was tremendous, and they had 3 parties for the women and everyone here. Everything from a band to a pig picking, they called it, a big pig roast out during the Pro-Am event. We had a nice time.
Well, I know he's had a little practice at hosting events. This is his 5th year in '96 that he will host a PBA regional event. Some experience there, and hopefully the ladies will be returning to Franklin next year.
Kim kind of gives a wry smile there. Wasn't sure the ball was going to hook across.
Well, we've seen 2 different reactions from Sandra Jo's ball. She almost missed the 2-pin from the right, or didn't quite get it there, and then the 8-pin, she almost missed it on the left. So could be a little erratic there in the center of the lane. Kim Adler, 63-pin lead going into the 9th frame. And leaves a half 10, but Jan, at this point in time, she has the match all wrapped up. Do you think she's fishing around a little bit now?
She may try a few things. Kim works with hand position a lot. She'll cup her wrist a little more, break it back a little bit, get softer, harder. She does a lot of subtle changes out there, and she might be feeling it out to see what might work as they start to break down.
Was able to capture 2 titles in 1995, the Storm Doubles and the Hammer Eastern Open. So far this year, she has been not able to capture a title. Last week she finished 5th, and her best finish so far was 3rd at the Ladies and Legends with teammate Tita Smith.
You mentioned Sandra Jo's wedding on August 10th. They are not going to be able to have a honeymoon because shortly after their wedding they have to head to Australia. They're going to Carol Giannotti's wedding on August 31st.
Well, that would be like a honeymoon. I mean, come on, not every day people go to Australia.
Well, she said that is going to kind of be their honeymoon. They're going to be there 10 to 12 days, so she's excited about that.
Did she mention if she had ever been to Australia before?
No, she didn't. I don't know if she's been out there.
I'd venture to say not. I've never heard her talk about going over there before. Well, we want to wish Carol Giannotti good luck with that wedding. And finished 5th, Sandra Jo, for this event. Takes home a check for $2,500. And you mentioned weddings. We have a number of weddings that have happened, too, during the spring and summer break. Carol Doran tied the knot with professional bowler Del Ballard. Congratulations to them.
Jackie Sellers, who we'll see later, also married Tom Miscavige.
And we will see him later as he drove down with Jackie's parents to be here for the telecast. Well, Sandra Jo Shirey is able to string 4 strikes in a row. One more makes it 5. She says, where was this early on in the game?
Well, she's got her arm swing loose and consistent right now. Just took her a little long to get going.
5 in a row for the finish. Sandra Jo Shirey ends up shooting .205, but it's not going to be enough. Adler can take it to the wall for .247 if she strikes out. One in the 10th. We'll be back for more of the finals of the Franklin, Virginia Open. Next match, Kim Adler taking on Marianne DeRupo when we come back. And we're back for the finals of the Franklin, Virginia Open. It's match number 2. Kim Adler defeated Sandra Jo Shirey 243 to 205 in match number 1. She now meets the number 3 qualifier, Marianne DeRupo. Oh, does she get the 100-pin award there? 279 high game, low game, 179. Century award when you did that in YABA.
That's right. You did used to get an award for 100 pins over your average, is what we used to receive. Marianne DeRupo from Succothana, New Jersey. 29 years old. She's been on tour for 4 years. And opens up with a big strike. Nice opening shots here. The left foot's forward. She just went to this. She's going to rock forward to try and get her push away going with a natural start. The 4-step approach, high backswing. Look at the strong release. Good knee bend, nice finish position. Something Brian Purcell worked with her on, changing that to a rock in the beginning, and she said it's helped her push away be more consistent. Oh, almost left a solid 9 pins. Watch how this ball drives. All the way out to about the 6th board. It's going to finish really hard. Good look from down low. 9 pins still standing. It's like the head pin off the wall. Usually not the head pin that takes out the 9, but I'm sure Marianne will take it. Here's the head pin again. Oh, just in front of the 10. And both of these players now are using 2 different bowling balls, 1 on each lane. Was that a characteristic throughout the house? I know Marianne did it last night in position round in her final game. So several players did do that. some of the lanes played very differently.
I know Chuck mentioned that the lanes were scheduled to be resurfaced here in late August, and they did not get that done prior to the event. However, it did not seem to affect the scoring, as the scores were very high this week. Kim defeated Marianne DeRupo in match play, 247 to 199. And these two have met one other time on a telecast. And Marianne DeRupo shot a whopping 269. Kim was only able to shoot 196. That is long forgotten at this point in time.
They're both doing a great job. They're actually, it may look like they're using the same balls, using the same ball, but two different drillings, two different layouts.
Marianne, the 1992 Ebonite Rookie of the Year. Last year had a great year in 95. She made the WIBC All-American first team. And she has opened up this match with 3 in a row.
When she went to the rock, see her left foot's in front of her? When she starts, she's going to actually cross that foot over. That brings her body over to the left and opens herself up.
Unusual footwork pattern.
It is, but it's working. She's been very successful these 3 weeks with that. She also went to 15-pound equipment from 16 down to 15.
Well, she was the high qualifier 2 weeks ago in Tunica, Mississippi. And she comes in high, has everything going for her. Will it continue for Marianne DeRupo? It seems that everything's going her way. Find out when we come back here to the Franklin Bowling Center. Kim Adler up in the 4th, currently trailing by 30. Big TV pair average, 256. And she almost hit it in match number 1.
And Kim's trying to keep her hand cool there while she's sitting down between her shots.
I haven't seen one of those since I was in Phoenix, Arizona, out there where it was 119 degrees.
Really? I've been using one for 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it have water? It's not the water squirt one. It's
No.
just the fan.
Just the air.
Have you seen the water squirt ones? They work real good. Blows cold air. Watch it. Oh, flat bottom pin.
Ball she's using on the left lane is a little more sanded. It has a little more surface to it. Left lane's a little bit tighter. Right lane hooking a little bit more. She's using a more shiny ball.
Kim Adler in 95 ended up 4th on the earnings list. Almost made it to the $100,000 mark. Earned $96,000. And a look at a few of the other finishers this week. A few very big names. Alita Still in 8th, won the event last week, and Tish Johnson, the reigning player of the year, finished in 9th.
You see Wendy McPherson there. Wendy McPherson Papanos won 2 weeks ago in Little Rock, Arkansas tournament at Samstown Tunica.
And we'll have more for you a little bit later on in the finals here. Match play record for Marianne, 19 wins. And I thought that Hedman was going to make it over there.
She has some tremendous pin carry right now. She has everything dancing around the lane. She's changing to yet a 3rd ball to shoot her spare.
Marianne DeRupo won an event in 1993, in 1994, and again last year in 1995, looking to make it the 4th consecutive year here at the Franklin, Virginia Open. Right now, leading by 20 pins, halfway through match number 2.
Marianne wanted me to convey to her niece, Alex, that she wishes her well. She had an injury and had some stitches, so she wants her to know she's thinking about her. And hello to her mother, Rosemary. They're out on vacation right now.
I know her mother was very instrumental in Marianne's career as a professional bowler. She actually managed a bowling center while Marianne was very young, but Marianne actually went on to play softball for the South Carolina Bells, Budweiser Bells, South Carolina All-Star team. Graduate from the University of South Carolina with a degree in athletic training. At times, she's been able to help some of the players out here with injuries, haven't she, Jen?
Yes, she has. She does that quite often. She'll help them to tape it, tell them when to ice it, what to do.
Speaking of injuries, Kim Adler feels that she has at least another 8 years left out here, keeps herself in great shape, has been injury-free in her career as a professional bowler.
And she said even if they have kids, they're going to start discussing that, and they're going to take them on the road with them.
And there's Kim's husband, Tom Adler, who travels in the motorhome along with Kim. I mentioned they decide to have children. They said we're bringing them out here in the motorhome and possibly thinking of even homeschooling out here on the national tour.
The last injury Kim had was before a professional career, a problem with the wrist, and if we get a look at her grip, she uses a pinky hole. She did that to take strain off of her wrist also. And her hand, she was having trouble when she tucked that pinky. A lot of problems with her hand.
I'll tell you, we have seen a lot of head pins dance all the way back to lay right in front of the tent.
Kim just straightened out her wristband, flattened it out so she can kill the shot to shoot the 10 pin.
That could have meant a lot, given her a little momentum there going into the final few frames of this match. She would have been able to carry that.
She'll have to settle for the spare as we're going to break now, but we'll have the rest of match number 2 when we come back. Stay with us.
And welcome back. Marianne Drupo up now in the 7th frame, leads by 19 pins.
Comes up a little high, but my goodness, the 4 and the 10 go down at the same time. Jen, that's like leaving a split and picking it up all in the same shot.
It's, oh no. Wow, I can't believe it. Take a look at that. There's nothing to say, but it looked like it was going dead on the nose and managed to trip out the 4, 7, and 10.
Well, how often do we see the breaks falling one player's way, and then that's usually the player that tends to advance, and I don't want to say it too early, but usually wins the event. We'll have to watch and see if this type of luck continues.
And capitalizing on the break in the 7th frame,
She increases her lead to 29.
Well, carry was critical this week. Some players carried very well, while others couldn't carry at all. So it was critical what ball was in your hand, what speed you had, and how much rotation. Marianne also told me, in addition to Kim, that they changed their hand positions a lot.
Again, a little bit light. Very disgruntled look on her face.
She's frustrated right now. A few bad breaks in there, and that one just a little bit into the conditioner too much.
well, with the Olympic spirit all around us, even Kim has managed to use it for her advantage.
I've really watched a lot of the Olympics the last 2 weeks, and it's really shown me a lot of personal examples of individuals in their sport trying to stay focused and at a really important time, and I've really tried to work on that myself. It's been one of my goals the last couple of weeks, and it's worked out very well. I put more mental energy into each shot, and I really try to stay relaxed.
And it's helped her, but unfortunately she ran into Marianne Drupo this game. Right now Kim Adler did set it up for the 9th frame, can shoot a possible 228. Marianne Drupo would have to falter somewhere here in the 9th or 10th frame.
Exactly. She'll just need 2 marks, basically, to shut out Kim Adler.
Almost left a bucket.
Coming up light, same as Kim just did on that lane.
Now, did the conditioner have a tendency to carry down there, Jan?
It did carry down initially, and then the head started to break down, or the front part of the lane started to break down. So the 2-pin toppled into the 5.
Pins look a little far apart, too.
With all the pins falling, it looked like it spread them a little bit.
Moved left, went straight at him. Is not going to take any chances with trying, almost chopping it. See if she would have moved right, shot across lane to it. And she'll get the scoreboard.
She actually used a 4th ball, shooting her left side spare with a different spare ball than she shot her right side spare with.
Interesting. She has all the arsenal out there.
Well, a mark was all she needed. She did so in style.
Kim Adler will have to settle now for 4th place after finishing 5th last week. She bumped it up a notch. Finishes 4th this week for a check of $2,800.
She bowled well. Could have carried a few of those hits in there.
And she has the crowd roaring.
Ball looks good. Head pin off the left wall. Watch it roll across just before the rack comes down. Watch the pin clear. The rack did not touch it. If it had touched it, the pin would have had to have been respotted.
She says, sure, now it falls when I already had the match wrapped up. Why didn't it fall a little earlier? Give me a little more of a comfort zone.
And look at Kim Adler's money for 4th place.
Finishes out with 246. She has earned the right to take on Tammy Turner. That's coming up when we come back. Open. Match number 3 now. Marianne DeRupo taking on Tammy Turner. I'm Leila Wagner along with Jan Schmidt. It's been exciting so far. A couple 240s in match number 1 and match number 2 to win the matches. Average on the TP pair of lanes for Marianne DeRupo, 198. That was prior to tonight. She just shot 246 against Kim Adler's 217. Decides to take the lead early.
Big opening shot. She's opening up that lane quite a bit. Sending the ball way out to about the 5th board.
And our first look tonight at Tammy Turner. Tammy has finished 1st or 2nd in 4 out of the last 5 sets.
Almost leaves a solid 9.
And that is really opening up the lane. Sending the ball, setting down way left to center, all the way out to about the 4th board.
Hometown, West Palm Beach, Florida. The 1992 Bowling Writers Association Amateur Bowler of the Year. Came out on tour, took it by storm, won in her first year as a professional. Gave her the award of the Ebonite Rookie of the Year.
She's smiling. She did not mean to send that quite that far to the right. This one gets out all the way to about the 2nd board.
Also known as
never recovers.
Area check. Wiggles the 2. Not far from carrying that.
asked Marianne what she's going to be doing during the upcoming break, and she said she has several exhibitions planned. She's also will be in the finals of the World Team Challenge, and she's going to bowl some regionals.
The ladies will have a break after this event until approximately the third week or so of September, and they'll be back on for the fall tour. And we showed you a few other finishers. Now we have a few more. Cindy Coburn Carroll won the 1996 Claremore Classic, and we mentioned our people that were getting married this year. Robin Romeo is getting married same day as Carol Giannotti.
One of the amateurs that had a fine performance, Audrey Mullen, she was in the top 5 for a while. Julie Gardner, she qualified in the number 2 spot this week.
7 career 300 games, one here at the Franklin Bowling Center. Absolutely rings the 10 on that shot.
And she carried so many hits that game just prior to this. There's one solid in the pocket and doesn't carry. If you notice, she removed her wristband to shoot this spare. She wears a wristband normally, takes it off so she can break her wrist back and flatten the ball out. In addition to switching to a harder surface ball.
Very hard and straight. Definitely picked up the speed on that shot. See all the balls down there on the rack.
See the tape in Tammy's thumb hole there? All the players were discussing. For 3 weeks now, we've all had a lot of problems with ball feel because of the heat and humidity. So we're constantly in and out with tape, using fans as Kim did.
Not an uncommon problem here in the summertime on the summer tour, as the ladies tend to move south on the schedule, and of course very hot and humid weather all across the country. Tammy light again for the second time in a row. Tonight she actually surpasses her last year earnings, Jan. Last year she earned a little over $60,000. Just halfway through this year, she goes around that. So an incredible year for her.
And this is the style that's gotten her there. She stays very low to the line all the way through. Watch her never pops up. And what's really worked for her, a really quick, clean release. Snaps through the ball. It's an aggressive shot.
And trailing by 11 pins, Tammy Turner now up in the 4th frame on lane 13. You can see there how much she does cup that wrist. Get a little more on it.
Get a nice look at Tammy's release. Watch how quick she's out of the ball. See how she snaps through it?
Obviously having trouble with the feel.
She blanched it out to shoot at the spare. Actually shooting at 2 pins, just going for pin count on that.
And almost leaning back in her stance. 6 pin just remains in the channel.
Reminds me almost, Adair Street used to lean back quite a bit like that, and now has her weight more forward, and Marianne went the other way and brought her weight back.
That's interesting that the players are constantly changing their game. Marianne lets us know a little bit about her transition from 16 pounds to 15.
Well, one of the main reasons why I switched to 15-pound equipment is from the 16-pound, I felt like I could not go straight enough with the 16-pound as well as hook it enough. And out here, it requires us to be a little more versatile. Plus the aspect that my elbow was a little sore, so I figured, being that it's a 3-week swing, let me try it because the big 8-week swing's coming up later on in the year.
And a quick look at the scoreboard. Marianne leading by 24 pins, and of course she mentioned her elbow. A lot of players suffering from tendonitis. probably pretty smart by dropping the weight now and then giving her a little time to rest. But from what she mentioned to us, she's going to be bowling quite a bit during the break and really not giving her elbow a little time to heal.
She is, but I asked her last night how it's been, and she said she's having no problem. The switch to the 15 has just completely taken it away.
Well, that's good news for Marianne. And the mayor here of Franklin, Virginia, Jim Council. I understand he has been out for quite a bit of the qualifying and the finals of the ladies tour. Enjoyed the bowling all week. Nice to have our dignitaries. And Debbie McMullen, finishing up in 22nd, was the first woman to represent the U.S. in bowling in the '88 Olympics. And Leanne Barrett, reigning player of the year. Not reigning, excuse me, former.
Laura Moriarty, another fine week for her. And Cassie Doran was up there. She's currently second in average on the tour with a 218.59.
Tammy Turner catches one in the 5th frame, trailing by 23 pins. If she can catch the double here in the 6th, she'll cut that down to just 13 pins and probably gain a little momentum for the last half of the game. Average on TV pair, 230. And she finally hits lane 13. She is on the comeback trail here at the Franklin, Virginia Open. Will she make it all the way back? Come back. With the nickname Droopy, Marianne DeRupo up now in the 6th frame, defeated Tammy Turner in match play. Right now, she is leading Tammy by 13 pins.
Talked about all the bowling that she's going to do over the break, but she did talk about the recreation we hit on last week with Alita Sill. She said she's going to be driving that boat.
That's right, Alita Sill purchasing that 18-foot motorboat. Marianne is the designated captain of the boat. And that is just, I think, because Alita does not know how, nor does she really want to learn how to drive it. From what I understand, Alita just puts on her life vest and rides around. Now Marianne doubles. Tammy Turner says, hey, just let up a little bit here so I can have a chance to catch you. 2 first-place finishers, 2 second-place finishers in 4 out of the last 5 weeks. Head pin. And it did make it.
She looked at our tournament director, Rick Ramsey. He made the call. Watch the head pin come across. You decide, did the rack hit it? It looked clear. Rick Ramsey calls it clear.
Tammy looking over at Rick and saying, it is okay, right? It is okay. Now see if she can actually regain some composure, because that could have a tendency to shake you up a little bit. It's very quick.
She was up on that approach fast, sent the ball right, didn't catch it real good. Off her hand there. Not the quick release she's had before. Watch it continue to go right.
That could have made it into the channel down there. That hit about the 1 board. A look at Mark McKinnon, the chiropractor, who is on hand here this week at the Franklin Bowling Center for all the ladies.
He's from McKinnon Chiropractic Center right next door here, and I know Tammy used him a lot. She said he got her through the week. She's had a lot of back problems recently.
Of course, throwing 15, 16-pound equipment for probably over 75 games throughout the week by the time you figure in practice sessions and pro-ams. Takes a toll on the ladies' bodies. Marianne is slowed down by another 10-pin in the 8th frame. Still has a 15-pin lead if she picks this up.
She's still consistently in the pocket.
started bowling when she was 7, but did not think about the professional range. Whoa! So she was a little older, and that was one of the lives of the cat, the 9 lives.
That's as close as you can get. Watch the ball almost in the channel. If the ball had hit the bottom of the channel before hitting the 10, it would not have counted. But since it was midair in the channel, that spare counts for.
Both. Well, Marianne Drupo is clean through 8 frames. Tammy Turner with that open frame in the 4th when she left the 4-6-7 split. Oh, 4-9.
Ball just driving a little bit too hard. She could have gotten lucky and kicked one out. This ball's going to take a left turn. It gets about the 5th board. Nothing near the 4 or the 9.
Tammy sees new life. This could be the turning point here in the 9th frame. Marianne takes 1. Gives her 183 in the 9th. She can shoot a possible 213. Tammy Turner can strike in the 9th, throw 3 in the 10th, and shoot 221.
What a turnaround.
15-pin lead to just a 2-pin lead. And Tammy Turner is going to capitalize on the break that Marianne gave her. She strikes in the 9th, trails right now by 2 pins.
She kept that ball in a lot tighter. Didn't send it as far right as she has been.
And there you can see a look at the scoreboard. Here in the 10th, let's just give her 181 and still be very close. But if she can throw 2 strikes in the 10th, she can knock out Marianne.
She made 2 strikes and 3 pins.
Wow, lane 13 has been her problem lane throughout the match. Throwing up high and light. But when she needs it, she does it.
That was light. Almost appears as if the ball's rolling out, losing its energy going into the pocket on the left lane.
One more strike, and as you mentioned, Jim, 3 pins, and she advances. Oh. And coming up very high, leaves the 410. With that,
She sent it right. Good rotation on the ball, not rolling out that time. Finishing too hard.
with that, she still forces Marianne Drupo to throw 2 strikes in the 10th frame.
She'll need 2 strikes and 6 pins. Keeping the ball real tight on that lane, not letting it out very far.
This lady has 3 national titles. Trying to make it the 4th national title tonight. In order to do so, she needs this strike to be able to earn the right to take on our top seed, Jackie Sellers.
Rack looks pretty good. She's taking a re-rack. It's a little bit hard to tell if she sees anything at this point, though. She needs to take the re-rack. She cannot go up there doubting whether the pins are on spot.
Now the monitor's correct. See, she needs a strike and 6 pins. And she buries it. Oh my.
Can't make a better shot than that. Keeping it real tight. Flush all 10 straight back.
She defeats Tammy Turner 208. Tammy finishes up third with $3,400. When we come back, Jan has a very special guest that's here in the audience. And the final two ladies remaining here for the title of the Franklin, Virginia Open. Jackie Sellers, the top seed, Marianne Drupo. First time Jackie Sellers has been in the #1 position. From Dubois, Pennsylvania. A newlywed just got married in June 22nd, I believe.
That it was June 22nd. Tom Miscavige, and I guess married life is treating her well as far as her bowling career goes.
So far, and Tom had the opportunity to drive down from Dubois earlier today with Jackie's parents. It's always nice to have family in the crowd. Marianne must feel like she has new life coming into this championship match. As she once again hits lane 14, if you recall, in the semifinal match. She struck out on that lane. Just finished this season second in the Little Rock Classic. She was the top seed in that event, if you recall. It was an arena final.
She's trying to capture it, get that title back that she felt was kind of taken away. She felt like she earned that title when you lead all week, as Jackie, I'm sure, feels now.
You mentioned Jackie led the whole field by 270 pins. And she's going to have to come out striking because this lady right here is very tough. And look at Chuck Gardner, the owner of the Franklin Bowling Center. I mentioned him a little earlier. Former touring PBA player, just did a remarkable job here on such short notice, and I know he wanted to thank the City of Franklin and the Franklin Southampton Economic Development Commission for co-sponsoring this event.
Boy, that ball did not look that high that she'd leave a 410, but almost did. Fortunate to knock the 10 out at the last second.
Actually, we have seen it 3 times on lane 14. Sandra Joe left it, and then Marianne Drupo had the 4 and the 10 fall at the exact same time, and now Jackie coming up high and got the 10 out.
We also wanted to say, take first a look at Jackie's. She's got a 5-step approach, holds the ball about chest high. She pushed it way out in front of her, about a head-high backswing. Straight leg at the finish. Get a good look at her arm swing here. Watch how it drifts away from her body. She actually turns her body and reaches out with her arm. Arm swing quite a bit away from her body there, but it's been very successful for her this week and throughout her career.
Jackie's another player that will surpass her prior year earnings tonight, with still pretty close to half a year left. Won earlier this year, the first tournament of the 1996 season in Terre Haute, Indiana.
I was going to take a moment and also thank the Super 8 Motel in Franklin. They were our host motel and did a fine job. Warren and his staff, Warren Story, we thank you.
Marianne Drupo makes it 3 in a row in this championship match. She is after the title, Jan.
Look how aggressive, still staying really tight, not getting right at 10 on that lane. Beautiful shots.
Leading Jackie by 20 pins going into the 4th frame.
Boy, Marianne felt fortunate that she even made it into the show. She said the last few games she really started struggling last night, and as you mentioned earlier, she just hung on to stay in the telecast.
So she beat Cheryl Daniels in the position round. Got a 215, which actually seemed low when everybody else was bowling 280s and 250s. Jackie Sellers' 15th career television appearance. Television average is 209 up to this point.
And she doubles. We had an opportunity to ask Jackie what it was like to lead this field by 273 pins, and she told us.
Actually, the amount I led by, I didn't think about that. I was excited to have led a tournament. I've never led a tournament before, and it's kind of nice happening to come in here and bowl just one game tonight.
And right now, she's just trailing by 20 pins. She can cut that to 10 if she can put one more together here in the 5th frame. High gain this week, 299. Just missed that magic 300. Jan, do you know what pin she left? You weren't qualifying. You were bowling at the same time.
I wasn't able to see that.
Well, I'll venture to say it was a 10 pin. How's that? I'll go out on the limb. If she wins, we'll ask her. Marianne Drubo taking another re-rack on lane 14. It is her 16th career television appearance. Her career TV average is 210. Coming up a little high. Talked about the players that actually surpassed their previous year's earnings. Marianne has actually faltered a bit. She won over $60,000 last year. So far this year, she's at $24,000. Probably looking forward to having a very strong fall.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason that she made some of the changes. She said she was being inconsistent with her push away, and she was hoping this would help her.
And also, we have a lot of higher prize money coming out in the fall, a bigger tour for the ladies. Well, Marianne gave Jackie a little room here. And she stopped striking. It's always what you're thinking when you're sitting down there watching your opponent. Just stop striking.
Marianne set her goals right now at just being consistent. She wants to be in the top 10 or 12 each week. And this swing, she's made 2 shows, and the other week she finished 6th.
Even better is the top 12. We're halfway through the championship match. Marianne Drupa with a 9-pin lead. But Jackie Sellers is working on 3 in a row. Can she continue? Find out when we come back.
We're back. Jackie Sellers working on 3 in a row. Can take the lead for the first time in the match if she strikes right here.
And she does it. And a look at Tom,
Jackie's new husband, I want to say. They had a wonderful honeymoon, went to Walt Disney World. He said he can't wait to go back again. And a look at the finalists by round. All 5 players, very unusual. All of them were exempt this week, and you can see Jackie Sellers led from the start of match play to the finish of match play. I know she was on the bubble.
She was. She said she was fortunate to be seated. The first week she came out because of the honeymoon and everything, didn't get enough bowling in, and she just hung on to get in the exempt ranks this week.
and this week actually secured her spot to be exempt for the first event
In the fall, and if she gets enough points, they'll probably exempt her for a couple weeks.
Here's the 4 pins of carry she was talking about, tripping 4s. She told me, I never trip 4s, but she did all week. That's exactly what she was talking about.
And that was a big shot there because she now has the lead by just 1 pin. The ring in 10, and that's what Tammy Turner was hoping for when Marianne Druba was up in the 10th last game.
It's a 3-pin, hits a 6-pin off the wall, 6-pin flies around the 10. She left a 4-pin last shot, 10-pin this shot. Her carry has really, the last three frames of hers has gone downhill a little bit, making great shots, every ball right there.
No problem with that 10-pin, as now Marianne Druba trails by 11 pins. Jackie Sellers shooting a 280 pace right now. She goes off the sheet.
We also should thank Debbie Elliott, the general manager here. She did a lot of work in getting the tournament together, helping with the parties, and
she'll be part of the presentation after the show. Marianne still trying to hang on here. Comes back with a strike in the 8th frame.
They showed earlier Jackie's match play, 25-7. That's a great record. She didn't need all those wins to stay top seed, but she'll take them. She won all 8 matches the first night of match play. So everything just went her way.
That was 5 more matches than anybody else on the telecast. And a look at Jack and Violet Sellers, Jackie's parents. They drove down with Tom. Just arrived here in Franklin about 4 o'clock. A couple hours before the show started. I had to laugh at Jackie's mom earlier. She was nervous, walking around, pacing. I said, "Are you nervous?" She said, "Yes." Jackie now leading by 21 pins going into the 9th frame. Well, she's never been a top seed before. My goodness, you would think she'd been there a number of times.
Didn't affect her at all, waiting. Although in the bowling center here, she was able to warm up at the other end while the other players bowled.
Keeping the ball right on line. Loves to play the inside line that she is playing.
She's very comfortable there. She said that she thought, you know, her ball speed, she chose to stay tighter, too, this week, to not open up the lane as much. She said the last couple of weeks she's been opening it up, and she felt it hurt her carry. So she made a decision early on to try to play the lanes as tight as she could.
And Marianne finally carries on lane 14, as it has come back to haunt her the last 2 times she's been up there.
If she strikes out, she could force Jackie to strike. She can go off the sheet here for 259. If Jackie went 9 spare strike, I think we could have a tie.
We talked about high scores in the Open, and the scores have started to escalate here for the championship match. Look at the scoreboard, try to calculate it. Both players clean, both players throwing a lot of strikes. There's the first one. She is trying to apply the pressure.
Marianne has a look about her that she almost looks like she feels, you know, it's too late. She really looks, she's still making an effort, but watch the look on her face. It's like, okay.
You're right, and that could make her even a little bit looser. Help her carry.
Mm-hmm.
Breaks early through the nose. Marianne Drupo going to finish out. She picks it up at 246. That's a tough game to lose with.
Yeah, it is. It's a great game. Jackie just needs 9 pins here at 9 on her first shot.
Marianne closes out with 246. Jackie Sellers, as you mentioned, needs 9 pins on her first shot.
9 out. Right now, we'll give her 247.
Oh, that was a bit high. She not only tripped the 4-pin, but she tripped the 4-9.
She's tripped quite a bit on lane 14.
Now, if she would have left 8 and 1, she could have lost. She would have left that 4-9.
She could have tied because she would have lost 2 pins on that, the double.
Well, there she is. You're looking at her, the champion of the Franklin, Virginia Open. She led this tournament from the start of match play to the finals.
And there's
Marianne
that
Drupo
4-9.
settles for $5,000. Jackie says, just glad I didn't leave that on the first shot.
Well, Jackie Sellers becomes the third two-time champion here in 1996. We'll be back to talk with her from newlywed husband Tom. Stay with us. Congratulations to our champion of the Franklin, Virginia Open. Jackie Sellers defeated Marianne Drupo. Final score 266 to 246. Great bowling tonight here in the Franklin Bowling Center, and to present the trophy, Jim Bradshaw, the Executive Director of the Franklin Southampton Economic Development Commission, and Jim Council, the Mayor.
Jackie, congratulations on behalf of Franklin and the Franklin, Virginia Open. We are glad that you're our first winner and hope that you'll come back and defend your title next year. It's also a pleasure for us to present this trophy to you, and having just been married a month, it's a great way to celebrate a month's wedding. So we're proud of you and hope you'll come back.
Thank you. All right, we have a check from Debbie Elliott for $9,000. She's the general manager here. And Jackie Sellers, I know you like to thank everyone here, but we're out of time. So for Jan Schmidt, I'm Leila Wagner. Thanks for joining us on Prime. And if you enjoy more bowling, look for your local listings.